I'm an artist manager, a promoter, and I also run an independent record label called Waratah Records. Today, I'm just explaining and going through some playlist curation and music discovery. Um, so let's get into it. I've got my Spotify account shown up here. But firstly, what platforms can playlists be created on? Spotify is probably the most used one in Australia. Apple Music is also another great platform. YouTube is another great one, which has a lot of stuff that Spotify doesn't have, and same with SoundCloud as well. So all four of those are really great platforms, and I'd check out all four, do a little bit of research on them, and find what works best for you and feels most comfortable for you. What makes a good playlist? So I would say that 40 to 60 tracks is best. I would look to update the playlist as frequently as you want, depending on what you want to get out of the process. So if you just want to create a playlist, which is, I guess a time, a journal or a diary, of where you're at today, it's really good to have a playlist that you can create once, set it up, and that's it. Or it could be really good if you're really interested in it, is setting up a playlist that you can frequently update. Another playlist can be creating themes. So, think about like a running or exercise playlist, or thinking about a morning, afternoon, or late night playlist. I can show you that here as well. On my Spotify, I've got a crates folder. And on my crates folder, I have a couple little playlists that I'm working on at the moment. And for example, I have this one called Late Night Disco. So this is stuff that kind of sounds sonically similar to some house / disco. It kind of fits in between those two worlds. So having a playlist that's themed, it gives a purpose and gives you reason, and then also can help predict what the music will be. Another playlist can be a geographic based. So for example, I have a playlist. If I go into my other crate here, I have a Sydney playlist, which I'm working on at the moment. I have a bunch of other playlists, but for example, I have a Waratah weekly playlist. So this is just a playlist that I update with 20 new songs every week that are released from independent Australian artists in the last 7 days, with no genre or mood focus. This one's quite free and open. And that brings me to the other point as well, of like creating a playlist which is mood or genre focused. So if I go back into my crates, you can see that I have a electronic playlist, a hip hop one, local stuff, and this is probably leans a little bit more towards the Triple J and more mainstream stuff. I also have a global discovery playlist, which is very similar to what I was saying before about a geographic based playlist. This is all music from as I said, I'm still working on all of these, and these are always, I'm constantly deleting things, I'm constantly adding things to it, and keeping it fresh and stuff that I just like to listen to at the moment. It's just a really good way for me to discover some new stuff, and all of these playlists are just things that are always evolving and always changing. The other main thing that I would say when creating a playlist is creating a sonic flow so that you don't have too much of the same thing one after another. So for example, with our Waratah weekly playlist, let me dive in really quickly. So our first track for the playlist update this week was a track by Raj Mahal and Dante Knows, and it's a really hip hop focused track with a little bit of grime about it. The second track was a pop song, so very different to that. And the third song as well was is from a band called Johnny Hunter from Sydney. They're an amazing 4-piece band, 4 or 5-piece band that are a little bit more towards, say, bands like Idols or alt rock and things of the nature. And then the fifth track here as well is a local Macarthur-based artist, Father Tingers and the Mudman, a really techno ambient track. So you can see just in those 4 tracks, they're completely different. But listening to them, I'm trying to find how they would flow, what makes the most sense as well. I wanted to dive into music discovery as well. So finding curators and tastemakers. Finding music is always a really tricky one. So you can always have playlists that are, you can look at playlists that are, Spotify editorial. So playlists that are curated by Spotify. So for example, my favorite one is Fresh Finds. And you can see how it's curated here by Spotify. This one was updated 2 days ago and is just putting in new stuff from local independent artists. So very similar to the Waratah Weekly playlist. And this is a great one for me. I love discovering new artists in this. And a lot of the time I'm finding artists in here that I'm then putting into my weekly playlist. The other one is New Music Friday, which is all the new music which came out this week. Uploaded into a playlist, and this includes artists like Elton John, Rufus Du Sol, which was a great release this week. But yes, it's all just songs that came out in the past 7 days. You can also look for independent curators. So, for example, Waratah Weekly, we're an independent curator. We're not curator. We have nothing to do with Spotify. Another one that I really love is the Future Classic playlist, all their new releases. So I love the Future Classic record label. So finding their playlists. I loved this Yoga and Murphy Field track. I thought that was great. Flight Facilities track is great as well. But this is a really good way to find music that, I guess maybe Spotify didn't come across or Spotify didn't curate. Another great way to find music is through music media. So looking at Rolling Stone, NME, jumping into Triple J as well, if that's your music that you like. FBI Radio is another great resource for local Sydney-based artists. But essentially what I would do is look for the music that you like, find what you like, and then go down the rabbit hole finding media companies. So finding the magazine that writes about, some bizarre electronic music that you like. That's what I tend to do on a day-to-day basis. So why playlists and why music discovery? It's a really great way to de-stress and take some time to do something you want to do. Something that I've started realizing over the past, during this lockdown period, is that I was spending so much of my time, because I'm working in the music industry and, my job is essentially listening to music, because I'm spending so much time listening to music, and I sometimes forget that the music that I want to listen to, I put to the side. So giving yourself that time now to listen to music that you actually want to listen to. Why did you start? Why did I get into the music industry? Bands like Rage Against the Machine are a great artist that I loved before I started in the music industry, and now only coming back to them to just actually listen to it for personal, my personal enjoyment. It doesn't always have to be, I guess, a work thing. That's something that I'm working on. But so having a playlist is a really great way to give yourself time to do something else other than whether that's study or working. But also at the same time, having the right music to support your day can really impact productivity. So think about exercising. The right playlist and the music can really assist your performance while you're exercising. So for example, I know that there are playlists. Let's just check those out actually. So exercise. So we have workout playlists. It would be the best place. So search, and you can go to mood, or you can go to workout. And let's say running playlist. And you have different playlists at different BPM. So depending on how fast you're running. So you can see how having a playlist is really important. It can help that productivity and also can help your performance with all of that kind of stuff. Another great place for music that I would recommend is YouTube. There's a bunch of live streams that you can check out, especially for studying. There's a bunch of lo-fi hip hop playlists, which are really great for studying. And they're just live streamed 24/7. So you can always jump in there, and they're a great way for, just to have music playing in the background. You don't have to curate the music either. I hope you've learned something on this. If you need anything, if there's any way that I can help, please reach out, because I'd love to chat to you more about music curation.